What looks a bit like a river from this perspective is actually a lake, an artificial lake. The Senftenberger Lake, also known as the storage pool Niemtsch. It is situated in eastern Germany, in the south of the state Brandenburg and part of the Lusatian lakeland. It is owned by the Ministry of Environment, Health and Consumer Protection of the federal state of Brandenburg, but managed by the administration union Lausitzer Seenland. From a geological point of view, the flat region was formed through the Saale-Elster glaciation and is characterized by soils and sediments of lower and upper moraines. The dimictic and slight mesotrophic lake has an area of about 1,300 hectares and an excellent water quality, with a visible depth up to 10 meters. The maximal depth is 23 meters, but more than a third is less than 3 meters deep. The lake can be divided into two parts, the northern part, which composes of Elster area, North area, and East area, and the southern part, so-called South Sea. Between both of them, a 130-hectare large island with several small islands and bays is situated, a nature reserve and a Natura 2000 site, which is habitat for about 80 different bird species. Furthermore, the European otter, European beaver, and different bat species are found. About 26 fish species can be found as well, including whitefish, an indicator species for good water quality. Everything seems to be perfect, but to understand its problems, a look into the past is necessary. The lake is situated in Germany's second biggest brown coal field, the Lusatian mining district. From 1941 till 1966, more than 120 million tons brown coal have been mined. Due to this huge amount, a complete backfilling would not have been possible. As a consequence, it was decided to flood the abandoned open pit, which started in 1967. 5 years later, the final water level of 98.5 meters above sea level was reached. The flooding took place with the help of groundwater and surface water from the small river Schwarze Elster. Due to its origin in a mining pit, the lake has to deal with acidification. Furthermore, landslides, sediment flows or erosion happened because of insufficient protection of the steep margins of the former pit and the island region, which has been the conveyor bridge dump in former times. Acidification of the water is the most common problem in former mining regions. Coal is often surrounded by pyrite, a rock that contains ferrum and sulfide. During the degradation process, pyrite weathering occurs and divalent ferrum ions, sulfate and protons are released. When the rising groundwater comes in contact with these products, the ions are leached out and reach the relict lakes. The following oxidation and hydrolysis of ferrum ions is the main discharge of acid. After the flooding, the whole lake was acidic and characterized by pH values about 3.0. The inflow of surface water from the Schwarze Elster should dilute and slow down the inflow of the rising acidic groundwater, but a drastic increase of the pH value could not be achieved. Also, the 6-time input of 2,000 tons lime did not really show a change. Finally, at the end of the 1970s, an increased inflow of surface water due to heavy rainfalls led to a jump of the pH value up to 5.0. This was very important because now the development of biological life was possible. The soils under and around the lake are mainly incompetent bedded soils and therefore vulnerable to erosion. When the soils become saturated as the groundwater is rising, sediment flows can occur. Through the saturation, the soils soften and begin to slide away. The outer banks of the lake have been secured by different measures to stabilize the lake sides. Bedding of solid rock blocks are stable and raised on steep banks. Furthermore, gabions, which are wire baskets filled with gravels, are found. A more natural measure for stabilization are boulders in combination with planting on shallow lake shores that prevent erosion by wave actions. Today, the Senftenberger Lake is still recharged by surface water from the Schwarze Elster to keep the pH value neutral. Presently, it fluctuates between 7.0 and 7.9, but only the northern part is completely flown through. The South Sea is still strong acidic. The partly dense carpet of vegetation, mainly composed of rushes, and the fluctuations in water depth complicate a well-mixing of water in this part of the lake. Besides, every now and then sediment flows occur and acidic material from the unsecured island reaches the water again. The smaller water body has not enough buffering capacity to deal with all these sour inputs. To protect nearby sediments from the rising groundwater level, the water is pumped down and induced to the southern part of the lake. Since the water is passing former mining regions, the inflow has a pH of 2.8. On the island, no actions for stabilization were taken. That is the reason why it is not hydrological and geological safe to enter the island region. Even the water around the island belongs to the nature reserve and can only be entered with a permission. The absence of humans was probably the main reason for the nature paradise of flora and fauna that developed via natural succession. The lake is part of the Lusatian Lakeland, a chain of artificial lakes. Through flooding of closed soft coal open cast minings, Europe's largest artificial lake district shall be created by 2018. Currently, the connection between the Senftenberger Lake and its neighbor, the Geierswalder Lake, is completed, which will simplify water tourism. The touristic potential is high and will be enlarged furthermore with the opening of the harbor in Senftenberg in 2013. The use for recreation, fisheries, and as a storage pool for flood control and additional water inflow to the Schwarze Elster in times of low water will be continued. The Nature and Biodiversity Conservation Union is responsible for the island region. Finally, in 2013, a management plan for the Natura 2000 site shall be developed, so that stabilization measures hopefully can be carried out soon. But one problem stays: the acidification. Due to the closing of mining areas nearby, the groundwater level rises and the lake water is threatened. Without the inflow of the Schwarze Elster, a neutral milieu in the northern part would not be achieved. As long as the South Sea is supplied with acidic groundwater, no rise of the pH value is expected, and the ecosystem will not recover.